So, anybody interested in Harlequin? This was an interesting box. So, hey, if you could do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Even the thumbs up. Even if you hate me, still hit the thumbs up because it's a nice thing to do. It doesn't cost you an absolute penny. Because if one person hits up and one person hits down, that gives you 50%. That kills your algorithms. So only think positive. Only think positive. Shall we? Only think positive. And hey, this is the D. Louise book series. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no demons, none of that fancy stuff going on here. Oh, and I wanted to wait a second. Okay. I know this is a little late in the tooth here to be doing this. And I'll probably do it more often as time goes on. You might see it sooner. But I'm gonna throw this out now, but maybe it'll show up in previous videos because this is a future video. Whereas when I read a book, it's more recenter. But I'm gonna throw this out. Hopefully, I will do it again in a previous video. But I just want to thank Selena for hanging out with me every single day, and my new fan, who hopefully I'll be thanking sooner hopefully I thanked in February and March of this year. My Joy. I just want to say thank you for sticking in it. I appreciate your comments. Google Translate does a really good job. So I just thought I'd point that out. So, there is. Alright. Stop. No, I got this box on the screen. Okay. So. CLIVE Cluster. Black Wind. Clive the Mighty hailed Kirkus reviews about CUSSLER's last Dark Pit novel. In the waning days of World War II, unbeknownst to all but a handful of people, the Japanese tried at last desperate measures. 2 submarines were sent to the west coast of the United States, their cargo of Revolutionary War new strain of biological virus, their mission to unleash hell. 2004. That's good condition. Why is somebody throwing this out? I don't know. Mary Higgins Clark. Other people do boxings on YouTube. They know what's in the box. They 100% know what's in the box. They may have ordered it themselves, or someone sent it to them because it's on their wish list. It's something that they want. I don't want these books. I love opening the boxes and discovering what's in them, though. And then we divide them up for the different charities. But I love getting these boxes. Absolutely love getting these boxes. Because I never know what's going to be in them. When Adam Coliffe's new cabin cruiser Collier 2 blows up in New York Harbor with him and several close business associates aboard, his wife, Nell McDermott, is not only distraught at the loss, but racked with guilt because she and Adam had just had a serious quarrel, and she had told him not to come home. The quarrel was precipitated by Nell's decision to try to win the congressional seat long held by her grandfather, Cornelius McDermott. Orphaned at age 10, she had been raised by Mac, she called him, and was always at his side on Capitol Hill. Politics was in her blood, and Adam had known her ambitions when they married. Suddenly, he became opposed to her plan to run for Congress. Nell, like her great-aunt Gert, possesses psychic gifts which her grandfather scoffingly dismissed as flights of fancy. As a child, she'd been aware of the death of her parents and grandmother exact moment they died, because she knew at that very moment they sensed her presence was near. 2000. This is in good condition. Good condition. I don't know. Have you seen the movie This book has come through before. The Bridges of Madison County. He could have walked out on this earlier. Could have walked. Rationale shrieked at him. Let it go, Kincaid. Get back on the road. Shoot the bridges. Go to India. Stop in Bangkok on the way and look up the silk merchant's daughter who knows every ecstatic secret the old ways can teach. Swim naked with her at dawn in the jungle pools and listen to her screams as you turn her inside out. Let this go. Hornblower. In this 8th volume in the Hornblower series, the incomparable Horatio Hornblower, recently knighted and settled in as the squire of the village of Smallbridge, had soon designated commodore of his own squadron of ships, led by the 2-decker Nonsuch and bound for Baltic. It's 1812, and Hornblower has ordered to do anything and everything possible, diplomatically, military, to protect the Baltic trade and to stop the spread of Napoleon's empire. Hornblower! Beach of the Quarrels. June 1808. Somewhere west of Nicaragua, a site suitable for spectacular sea battles, Admiral has ordered Captain Horatio Hornblower, now in command of the 36-gun HMS Lydia, to form an alliance against the British colonial government with an insane Spanish landowner to find a water route across the Central America Isthmus. See something? Uh, 1999, a reprint. Oh, we have 2 bridges. FERN Michaels. For generations, the Windsors have lived on the family's grand estate in Crestwood, South Carolina, and intertwined with local life is sweet tea and pecan pie. Now, on the anniversary of her daughter Emily's death, Sarah Beth Windsor believes she may be the last to carry the family name unless she can find her second daughter Trinity, who disappeared 15 years ago. Let's see. 2007. I'm whacking myself in the head with this box. Have you seen my gal pal lately? In the grand matter of Interview with the Vampire, Anne Rice's new novel moves across time and continents, from the 19th century Vienna to St. Charles Creek revival mansion in modern-day New Orleans to the dazzling capitals of modern-day world, telling the story of 2 charismatic figures bound to each other by passion, commitment to music as a means of rapture, seduction, and liberation. Trina and Stefan. Buffalo Trail. I should add this to my Indian thing. Jeff Gunn. I don't think I knew about him when I did my Indian stuff. They got a new author. After barely escaping Nemesis Keller Boots in the Arizona Territory town of Glorious, Cash McLean is desperate need of a safe haven somewhere, anywhere on the frontier. Upon fleeing to Dodge City, he falls in with an intrepid band of buffalo hunters heading south to forbidden Indian territory in the Texas Panhandle. Along with Western legends Bat Masterson and Bill Dixon, Cash helps establish a hunting camp known as Adobe Walls. When a massive migration of buffalo arrives, Cash, newly hopeful that he may yet patch things up with Gabriel Terrell back in Arizona, thinks his luck has finally changed, but no good can come of entering into the prohibited lands they've crossed into. 2015. What's this? Jeffrey Archer, Honor Among Thieves. It's a tad yellow. Here, from the author of such monumental bestsellers as Cain and Abel, As the Crow Flies, is ingeniously plotted thriller that is up to the minute as today's headline. In Washington, D.C., in the spirit of 1993, is the dawn of a new political era, but 6,000 miles away in the impoverished streets of Baghdad, there is a growing disillusionment with the unelected president. Seeing the mood of the people, Saddam Hussein moves boldly to settle scores with the United States. 1993. Mr. Clancy. I didn't even know this was in there. I don't know. There's no synopsis. Mr. Clancy. Ugh. There. There. Alright. The Once and Future King. The whole world knows and loves this book. It's the magical epic of King Arthur and the Shining Camelot. Better Off Dead. Santa Fe Rules. Successful Hollywood movie producer Wolf Willard is stunned when he happens to read his own New York Times obituary. Victim of a sordid triple homicide amid a steamy menage a trois with a young bride and best friend. So who's the corpse? Who is it? The continuing saga of pioneer schoolteacher Chris Beth. Love is a Gentle Stranger. Love's Silent Song. Who puts... This is not going to come off. Let me see if I can get it. Nope, it's not going to come off. I have no idea. When Beth said yes to struggling country minister's proposal, life seemed almost too good to be true. Settlers in their little Oregon community would scarcely afford a resident preacher salary, and Chris Beth's teaching contract would end soon. Another separation, more adjustment. Edward Abbey, the Monkey Wrench Gang. The bridge, bedecked with bunting, steamers, and day glowers, was ready. The throng prepared to unloose a cheer or two. Suddenly, the center of the bridge rose up and broke in two. Alright. A minute. Ann George, Murder on a Girls' Night Out. Patricia Ann Morris is respectable and demure, a perfect example of genteel Southern womanhood. Mary Alice's sister is a big, brassy, flamboyant, and bold. Together they have a knack for finding themselves in the center of Birmingham's most unfortunate unpleasantness. Country western is red hot these days, so over-impulsive Mary Alice thinks it's perfect sense to buy the Scoot and Boot bar, since that's where the many times divorced sister and her boyfriend de jour to hang out anyway. Wait a minute. $1996. One, two, three, four, five, six. Ooh. Diana Palmer, Winter Roses. Handsome, eligible ranch owner Stuart York was not one to mince words. Ivy Conley, his younger sister's best friend, found out the hard way. During a night stay at his Jacobsville ranch, Ivy wound up in Stuart's arms. The resulting fireworks sing them both, and knowing she was too young, Stuart closed his heart to her. Bad choice. Okay. So, remember what I said? earlier. You remember what I said? Okay. What do you think? Alright, let's see. I should save a few of these for Flashback Monday. We'll have to see what year they are. Abby Green, an heir to make a marriage. In desperation to save her father, housekeeper Rose O'Malley thinks she can trap a man, but the second she faces Zach Valenti and the force of his palpable sensuality, she knows she can't go through with it. Before she can call off the deception, Manhattan's most eligible bachelor sweeps Rose off her feet into his beds. Stealing away like a guilty Cinderella, Rose vows never to see him again until she discovers she's with child. (2016). Let's just see what is it. Okay. Macy Yates, Carides' Forgotten's wife. Greek billionaire Leon Carides has it all: wealth, power, notoriety, even a wife, though he's never touched his convenient, innocent bride. Then an incident rids his damaged, debauched playboy of his memories. 2016. Where were these a couple of weeks ago when I was doing Flashback Monday, huh? Jennifer Hayward marrying her royal enemy. You know what? Got an idea. Okay. I couldn't resist. I love my Romantic Times book review magazine. Just love it. And a reason to pull it out, right? So, a billionaire without a past. 4.5 stars. In this irresistible Russian tycoon's installment, Russian billionaire Nikolai Estevez attempted to covertly attend on his old friend's wedding. Doesn't work, so when he's caught by Rachel Carey, now Rachel has been ordered to keep him in her sights until the wedding is over. The two hit it off and they decide to spend 2 weeks together at Nikolai's mega yacht. During that time, Rachel learns that Nikolai was sexually abused as a teenager, and she shares her own experience with sexual abuse. Soon, the two begin to form a close bond. Rich description and characters with real depth make for an excellent novel. Yay! I found one. Return of the Untamed Billionaire. 4.5 stars. When a prima ballerina, Anna Illisham, learns that her former love of her life, Roman, has come to see her perform, she's determined not to get involved with him again. He broke her heart years earlier when he walked out on her, joined the French Foreign Legion, and married another woman. Try as she might, she's unable to resist Roman, especially now that they're both free to be together. Spot-on emotional descriptions make Marinelli's irresistible Russian tycoon's story a strong one. Both Anna and Roman's feelings are real. Let's see. Oh, I forgot to look the page up. Oops, sorry. Right. Spot for the Greeks' revenge. 4 stars. In order to save her family home, Prunella Ella Palmer agrees to marry Nikolai, A man bent on revenge. He's determined to vindicate the sister he lost by going after someone close to Ella, someone with designs on marrying Ella himself. Ella fights the marriage to Nikolai, unaware of the danger etching ever closer to her. Graham's novel is well written and contains an interesting storyline. While the idea of marrying for revenge is not novel, she manages to make it fresh with strong characterization. See what happens. The Sicilian Stolen Son. 4 stars. After her less than honest twin sister dies immediately after giving birth to an Sicilian billionaire son, teacher Gemma Barber steps in to raise her nephew. When Luciano Vitali shows up on her doorstep demanding a son, Gemma refrains from telling him that her sister is dead. She hopes to travel with them to Sicily to ease the transition for the baby. Lucian can't figure out why he's attracted to this woman who agreed to carry his child for money, but he proposes marriages when he realizes the sisterly mix-up. Graham's characters are quite well drawn, and the plotline is interesting, if slightly unrealistic, that any child carried for someone else, especially a billionaire, would probably be carefully tracked. See what happens. The Billionaire's Defiant Acquisition. 4 stars. After Amber Carter's father washes his hands of her and asks her friend to turn her into a responsible adult, the socialite herself finds herself working for billionaire Connell Devlin. While disgusted with her partying lifestyle and lack of ambition, Connell finds himself intensely attracted to her. Amber soon realizes that working for Connell is an opportunity she doesn't want to waste, but when they give in to their passion, Connell arranges a temporary marriage to assuage his guilt and provide Amber with financial security. Good characterization makes Kenrick's novel interesting. Connell's emotional detachment due to a difficult childhood is well depicted, as is Amber's insecurity due to her own upbringing. See what happens. Bought by her Italian boss. 4 stars. When revealing pictures of Gwen Ellis implicating her in an affair with a client suspected of misusing fundraising money are sent to the media, her boss, Vittorio, hits back by releasing photos of him and Gwen that imply they've been having an affair in order to bring down the crooked client and save his company's reputation. But pretend quickly returns to reality when the two give in to their intense attraction to one another, leaving Gwen unsure whether to return home to America once the client is caught or stay with Vittorio as his lover. Good characterization and sparkling dialogue combine to make a solid story. Dion's Innocent Conquest. 4 stars. After dying, grandfather asks him to track down one of his lost mistresses, a necklace from a collection he had to sell to get his start in America. Matteo DeCione must convince racing team owner Abby Ellison to attend her father's political fundraiser wearing a dress in order to get her father to give him the necklace, which he now owns. But Matteo soon realizes that Abby is justified in disliking her father, and he can't betray her even to make his grandfather happy. Morel's novel is well written, and her depictions of racing locations, cars, and drivers all seem realistic. The addition of Abby's abusive ex as a racing rival adds a nice depth. Let's see. Right. Master of Her Innocence. 4.5 stars. After Claire Marchand's model sister Becky gets kidnapped while on a photo shoot in Brazil, Claire travels there with Ransom in order to bring her home, but Becky is being held in a lawless town near the Colombian border, and to get there safely, Claire must pose as a nun and travel by jeep for 2 days with a miner named Diego. In order to save both Claire and Becky, Diego ends up turning over a diamond worth millions, and the three barely escape with their lives. Once back from their kidnapper's lair, he forces Claire to work for him in order to make up for the lost diamond. Shaw's story offers perfect pacing and great characters. The jeep journey provides the perfect setting for Diego and Claire's sexual attraction. The kidnapping scenario is short and allows time for romance to develop. Okay. Let's see. These are all in July of 2016's issue. I don't think there's anything. Did her, Snow her, oh, one more. A Virgin for Vasquez. Ooh. There's a rip. I need to fix my rip. A Virgin for Vasquez. 3 stars. When he moves back to London, former business Javier is determined to make Sophie suffer from throwing him over and marrying someone else years earlier when they were college students. And when he finds her desperate to hold on to the family business and sell her crumbling ancestral home, he has her right where he wants her, but he soon realizes that Sophie had little choice years earlier because her actions saved her family from ruin, and he becomes determined to bring her family business back from the brink of failure. While working together, the two rekindle their romance. William's story is nicely written, but heavier. It just seems a little flat, and the pacing of the story is rushed. Okay. Let's see. She's not there. She's not there. No. A flaw in Raphael's revenge. Uh, 4 stars. 21 years after his sister was found dead in Genoa after going to a party on a rich man's yacht, Raffi accidentally finds the man and vows to ruin him. In order to do so, he hires Lily Known to compile a research report on him, forcing her to leave her solitary life in Australia and come to New York. When he takes her to Englishman's resort and Lily learns that Rafa plans to ruin the man, she refuses to have anything more to do with him. By this time, though, Raffi cares more about Lily than revenge and fights to get her back. West's depiction of emotions is spot on. Rafe's are particularly well drawn in his hatred for the man responsible for his sister's death and the attraction to the scorned Lily. I think we've got just about most of them in this particular volume. No, and no, and no, and no. So that's the end of that one. Hold on a second. Okay, this was a top pick. Expecting a royal scandal, 4.5 stars. When exiled King Felipe Caro asks burlesque dancer Brittany Hollis to meet him in Monte Carlo, he has a proposition for the seemingly unsuitable woman. In order to cement his reputation as a terrible playboy and unsuitable king, he wants to marry the most notorious woman he can find. And Brittany, with 2 divorces, stripping, and a reality TV show under her belt, fits the bill perfectly. Of course, once the two make a connection, both realize the other is the only putting on an act. Snappy dialogue and novel idea makes Crew book a winner. Brittany is especially well drawn in her responses and reactions to Cairo. So let's see. I don't think there's any more in this And no, and no, and no, and oh, yes. Signed over to Centino. 4 stars. Forced into marketing contract with a businessman, Javier Santino, pro figure skater, Carla is horrified that she must work with the man she gave her virginity to, and then ran away from. Javier, who wants revenge on Carla using him, soon realizes he genuinely wants her in his life. Nice sexual tension between Javier and Carla makes for a great read as the secondary plotline involving Carla dealing with her father and finding out how her mother died. Okay. I think that's the end of that one. The Sheik's Last Mistress by Rachel Thomas. Destiny Richards travels to Kezoban after accepting a sheep seer's offer to work with a horse suffering from a bout of nerves. Once there, the two give in to their powerful attraction for one another. When Zafir realizes Destiny is pregnant with his child, he insists on marrying her. Destiny realizes they may be able to give their child a loving family after all. Though the storyline is interesting, Thomas' characterizations are just a bit underdeveloped. Destiny is Kezoban as a horse whisperer, but there isn't enough description of her in this capacity. A tycoon to be reckoned with. Also 3 stars. Thinking a nightclub singer named Sabine is trying to fleece his rich young cousin out of money. Bastien goes to South France and ends up having an affair with the woman. But when Bastien begins to fall for Sabine, his doubts resurface and he ends their affair nastily. Things aren't always as they appear, however. Sabine is actually an opera singer named Sarah, who's filling in for Sabine, who's missing. Although Sarah is nicely developed in her stress over the future of the operatic career, Bastien isn't as well drawn, especially aspects of the plot are a bit overly dramatic. Oh well. Let me see. Alright. Capped at Argentine's command. I just had it. I just literally had it. Oh, I hate when they're at the bottom. 4 stars. Headed to Scotland for a friend's wedding, polo player Alejandro is asked to drive maid of honor Lulu to the ceremony. First, the two don't get along, but soon he comes to realize that she has anxiety and is doing the best she can to cope. All of this is underscored by their attraction to each other despite the initial dislike. Nice characterization and snappy dialogue make Ellis's book a fun read. Lulu is almost comical in her petulance and Alejandro is sexually annoying in his arrogance. Let's see. Nope. And no. Let's see. We've only got 2 left. Let's see if they're in here at all. Marrying the Royal. Nope. And nope. And let's see this one. Nope. Marrying the Royal. Nope. Oh, here it is. Nope. Wait a minute. Nope. Neither one of these. Yep. Only one left. See if it's in here. Nope. Neither one of these are in here. So we'll just finish. We'll finish with these two with no reviews. Jennifer Haywood marrying her royal enemy. Most women would kill to be draped in ivory lace and walking up the aisle to a king who cast his lasso. Stella Constantine isn't most women, but peace in her kingdom. She's agreed to marry the man she once brought her heart to with disastrous effect. The feisty princess refuses to be his pawn, yet one night in their marriage bed proves that Stella will never be immune to her husband's charms. Soon Stella begins to see the truth behind the sins of their past, and she finds herself doing what she swore she'd never do, falling in love with her husband. And the last one, Susan Stevens in the Chic Service. Chic is horrified to discover that the woman who will execute his late brother's conservation dream is the exotic dancer he encountered in London. Isla Sinclair's feisty nature is a good glass of water in the desert to the unchallenged ruler. For his entire life, Shazim's only mistress has been duty. Now he's considering a far more pleasurable way to spend his nights under the stars. Yet acting on his desire to such an unsuitable woman would be the tantamount to treason. Shazam will have to make the hardest decision of his life. And there you go. That's my box. And, we had a few Harlequins. Have a good, and don't forget to hit like in the sky, please. My box is gonna fall. My box is gonna fall. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and have a good day.